My name is Eric Van Horn. I bought my first franchise in my 20s, and since then, I've owned 6 brands with 25 stores in 8 states. I've also helped 1,000 people find the right franchise for them. People like us who are not cut out for the 9 to 5 and like to work smarter, not harder. How do we find the right franchise, buy it, grow it, sell it, and how do we do it in a way to own the business without it owning us? Those are the questions, and I'm on a mission to give you the answers. Welcome to Franchise Secrets. So we were getting ready to do a Franchise Secrets podcast, and we were not going to be live on Facebook. And then we were talking about building community, and Brad's a master at that. So I'm like, let's just go live in this Franchise Tribe community and talk. And I had conversations with people and text messages from people like, what is this mastermind thing you talk about? And like, nobody better than you to talk about masterminds and community and how these franchisees can build community with their customers right now. So anyway, Brad, why don't you welcome to the show and just tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Eric, and thank you everybody for watching. If you're on the replay, hit hashtag replay. Let us know you're watching the replay in the comments. We actually met through Mastermind, Eric and I, through Joel Marion and Dan Fleischman's Mastermind, 100 million masterminds, $100,000 a year to join. I know that sounds crazy.
It is kind of crazy. That's a lot of money to spend for a mastermind.
But when you think about it, it's actually, it's not about the price, it's about the value, right? So if you get the value, it's 100% worth it. Actually, the first person I met, Josh Avon, helped me out with my launch, and I became the 8th largest affiliate for Tony Robbins out of 5,000 affiliates. So the value's there, in my opinion. It's just scratching the surface, and I brought tons of value back, and that's just how it works, right? Masterminds don't cost money; they make you money if you utilize them, right? They don't cost time; they make you time because you can learn things about your business, systems, and processes, and how to be a better leader, how to create a better community, connect with your raving fan customers, marketing, sales, strategy, so you can work on your business instead of in your business. So they don't cost money; they create money. They don't cost time; they make time. And right now is the best time ever in the history of the world to create a virtual community or mastermind that can serve your people. Because I know a lot of you out there run franchises, and not just in restaurants that are having to shift from in-house dining to delivery and pickup. You're also running healthcare facilities. You're running gyms and nail salons and beauty bars and all kinds of different things. So maybe you're shut down right now is non-essential. I need a haircut. I haven't been able to get a haircut. So I get it. And you're thinking, well, how can I help people from home? How can I create a virtual community or mastermind around what I do? Well, first and foremost, I just want to dispel the top 1 or 2 questions I always get about masterminds is, do I need to be an expert to start a mastermind? And the answer is a resounding no. It's helpful if you have all the data running around your head. But here's the thing. I have a saying, I don't need to know everything if I know everybody. And here's the wizard magic secret. If you want to learn something, you can build a mastermind around people who already know it. And then you can get paid to learn and then bring people into this mastermind. They get a ton of value learning from the expert. You become an expert in the process, and they take better notes than you. They ask better questions than you. And the connections that you make can propel your business forward. So let me just share a quick story about how that could work. So back in about 5 years ago, I was at an event run by Jay Fazette. He's a mentor of mine, dear friend up in Canada. And I met a guy named Michael Quinn. And Michael was running a business with his family that was doing $100,000 a month selling cat tunnels on Amazon.
What's a cat tunnel? Cat tunnels?
Cat tunnels, crazy random stuff. Back in the day, you could throw almost anything up on Amazon and it would go crazy, right? It wasn't a ton of competition. It was doing awesome. So, he had these cat tunnels, like a little neoprene tunnel the cat would run through and ring the bell. $100,000 a month. I'm like, dude, you're making $1.2 million a year selling cat tunnels. He's like, yeah, and I work 5 hours a week. I'm like, I bow down to you. Show me your way. He's like, sure. I can coach you. It would be $30,000. I'm like, okay, that's a lot. But what if we did this? Do you have other people who want to learn from you? He says, yeah. He's like, do all of them have $30,000 to invest? No, most of them do not. I said, okay, great. Here's what we'll do. We'll build a mastermind around you. They'll all get the value. You'll make more money overall. You build a second start of your business. You'll get more of a transformational and impact effect on the people. And then they'll learn about Amazon. You can take them to China and Hong Kong and show them how to source products. This is back before it was really scary to go there. And that's what we did. So we started a little group and we built a community around it. We invited people in. We gave them a free training to show them that Michael was legit and he knew what he's talking about. And we said, hey, do you guys want to really learn this? Let's go to China. Let's go to Hong Kong together. Let's go check out these fairs and learn about how to source products and put them on Amazon. So we did training until they got there. And we charged a nominal amount of money as a beta. And we ended up with 52 people. I raised a bunch of money to go to China. I got my trip paid for. I made money. He made money. He spent it all on a crazy boat party, which we had in Hong Kong Harbor. It was really fun. We had a yacht out there. And we learned all about Amazon. And the connections I made led me to forming not an Amazon business, but an Amazon marketing agency where I help people to market their products and services on Amazon. And we went from $0 to $75,000 a month in 6 months, recurring revenue in that business. So I was able to build almost $1 million a year business in 6 months from what I learned from that mastermind that I got paid to learn. So that's how you can be an expert and not be an expert at the same time, right? All you have to be able to do is get people in the room around the experts that give you that value, and then you are the arbiter of that value. You are the reseller of that value. You are the mastermind facilitator. And it's not about you. And people get so many great breakthroughs from listening to each other. They listen to the experts that you can bring in, and it's really wonderful.
So it's more about being a facilitator than being the expert. Cause you do, I mean, you know your stuff. You don't have to be light years ahead of everybody. You're at where they are on a journey. And like in this franchise group, we got about 500 people in this franchise tribe. And I was actually going to do a live event in Nashville this summer. And I was thinking about launching a mastermind out of that for people in this group so they could be a part of a mastermind, because I've been a part of them for, like War Room with Ryan Dice and
Right.
Belcher and Roland. But so I've been a part of these different masterminds. I'm like, this has propelled my business faster than anything that I've done. And I've been a part of some great franchise systems, but these being around the right people in these rooms has just made my business just grow incredibly fast. I mean, you just saw a post I did yesterday about some stuff. We won't talk about it on this call because it's not appropriate, because it's about some private stuff that I needed some help with for a business I'm about ready to buy. But the amount of like the level of people that asked me like, how can I help you, and then made personal introductions, yourself included, it's like unbelievable. And so it is the connections that you get, so knowledge and the connection. I mean, when you look back, how important were the connections that you made, the friendships, the real friendships that you made out of it?
It's crazy, Eric. I mean, the right person at the right time, making the right deal, like it's millions of dollars. So I would say get bullish on Mastermind. Spend as much as you can to get in the right rooms around other people spending that amount of money that take their businesses seriously and want to go to that next level. If you want to be a 7-figure earner, you got to be around 7-figure earners. You want to be an 8-figure earner, a 9-figure earner, you got to be around those people because they think differently and they act differently. They have different beliefs about the world and about adding value and about scaling and about structure and about
Hmm.
leadership, all these different things that, if your best thinking was going to make you a billionaire, you'd already be one, or you'd be
Yep.
well on your way. Your best thinking has gotten you exactly where you're at. And in the current environment, your best thinking may have you hamstrung by the forces that you can't control. Where my business is growing, I'm not saying this to brag. I know people are hurting out there. I'm not trying to impress anybody. My business is growing because I've been secretly preparing for this for a very long time. Where if some crazy thing happens, I can work from home. I got all my supplies. My family's safe. We have money in the bank, and we're gonna grow as a result of this. Like we're putting out our books right now. It's just a low cost offer to get buyers in the door. People are still willing to pay money and want to get something of value for low cost. We have a book funnel that's destroying it. We're profitable on the front end. We make money to generate hundreds of leads a day, and then we can sell them whatever we want on the back end, coaching, consulting programs, what have you, and it's entirely profit. So
So
now
in
I
this
can make that a momentum builder and a snowball that can create incredible dividends forever.
So in this world, so to translate that online world into the world of franchising, because they're hearing front end offer, back end
Yeah,
offer,
yeah,
all of
yeah.
this stuff. And I remember when I was first got into it, I'm like, what is all of this stuff? What's an offer? What's copy? What's the front and the back end and all of that stuff? So in other words, you're marketing out there and you're giving that you're selling something or giving something to somebody. They're paying you a nominal fee for it. They're getting a lot of value out of it, but the purpose is just to get them in the fitness world. That's just giving away a free week of training or whatever it is in your class, and then you really want to sell them stuff on the back end, which is a membership, right?
Yeah, if I was going to be in, let's say F45, this is a great model, right? Everybody knows F45, they're a big franchise. So I go to F45 here in Encinitas, they're sending out free workouts to their members. Now, I would go one step further. I would create a course or like a set of workouts that people can consume on their own time. I would package that up as like a $10 offer just to get a credit card, right? You're
Yep.
not looking to make money on that. I would do a $10 offer and I would just gobble up, get as many people to buy them as possible so that they do your workouts, they try it. And then guess what? When Corona's over and people start going back to the gym, who are they going to think of? They're going to probably switch and say, well, I really love those F45 workouts.
Yep.
Let's do those instead, or whatever you're doing. You
So
know,
I
go ahead.
So I think about that too, Brad, because I think about that being an offer, which is a package of workouts. And yeah, they're getting offered free out there for people. But what if you did that and then brought them into a Facebook community or something like that? I'm a big believer and I want like what we're doing. I've owned these yoga studios. So I want an offer to go out and whether it's they're paying me for it or they're just coming in for free, but they're getting into that Facebook group where in the Facebook group, if people see, if you post something in there, the people in that Facebook group, there's a high percentage of those people that actually see that versus a normal Facebook page. And so they're in that group. And then in that group, what would you be doing?
Yeah, so that's actually a part of our funnel, right? So we've got a book. You can go check it out and see this for yourself. If you're a business owner, you should really just, I've done this hundreds of times. I go through people's funnels, I buy everything that's not $10,000 and I just see what works, right? Because these people have spent millions and millions and millions of dollars. These are all
Mhm.
free plus shipping book offers. I was going to figure it out from scratch. I was going to see exactly what they do and just copy it, right? And just do it on my own. So I got this book and I wrote it. It's a real book. I spent a year writing it and it's all, beautifully written and procured, but you don't have to have all that. You can create just a free piece of value, get them in, right? For a cheap product. So we do 3 free resources. Then the book, they buy the book, they get 2 upsells, and then they're on our list and they get other offers over time. But what happens is after that, they go and they get emails, they go to the Facebook group. Like we want as much and as many ways to
Mhm.
contact these people as possible. And then I have a tool called Group Funnels, which is really great that takes all of their questions that they answer, including contact data, what they're struggling with, all that, ports it out to a spreadsheet, approves them, puts them into the group. I go into the group and then I'll just do a welcome post for all his new members every day. I'll comment or reply to any comments that people have made the previous day. I'll kind of stir up an engagement. Maybe I'll put up like a quick value bomb post, just like a little short thing or an interview I did that week or something, just to keep the engagement going. And then I direct everybody who just joined to a pinned post with all the resources and trainings I've done prior. So everything that ends up in that group, so it doesn't get pushed down the feed and missed, I put on that first post so that people go there first and check all that out. And then they have access to all my offers, links, and everything. So they get blown away by value, free stuff as soon as they come into the group, everything they could possibly need, every training on whatever they're going to need to do. And then they're like, obsessed, and this happens a lot, and then they want to get on my calendar. So I've actually been so busy, I had to actually create like an application form, and they can't even get on my calendar until there's an application form and I approve it. And like I get to be choosy in a time when everybody's like dying to get
Mhm.
business, and that's the power of a funnel,
And
especially
so,
now.
everybody listening out there, if you just heard all of this stuff, you're probably lost. And because that's where I was 3 years ago when I started to get into the world of digital marketing and hearing all this stuff. And I got trained by Frank Curran. I was in a private group with him a
Right
few
here,
years ago.
yep,
Yeah,
right.
you're close to Frank, huh? Or we're close to him. And he, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, writing down all these terms and Googling them. What does all of this stuff mean? But then like what I would do if you're out there and this is intriguing to you and you don't fully understand it all, what's the name of the book, Brad? Where can people find
Yeah,
it?
go to 8minutemastermind.com. You can spell it either way, 8 or the number 8. Number 8mastermind.com slash or just go to that thing. You'll get 3 resources on the front end. You'll see how the funnel's structured. So you get 3 resources on the front end. That's all free value. And then you get taken to the book order form. It's free plus shipping offer. So you pay for essentially fulfillment, right, of that book. So I break even on that. And then there's a couple of upsells like a 21-day challenge and a sales training and some other stuff. And then you're in the pipeline, right? You're in the pipeline.
You're
You're
in,
warming up.
yeah, you're in the ecosystem for to translate that into the fitness world or whatever it is, a lead comes in, you are now in Brad's ecosystem where you're getting content and you're getting it from different angles. And this is what a lot of franchisors are missing. A lot of franchisors, even their marketing teams, you start talking like this to a marketing team, and it's like deer in the headlights. They're like, what are you talking
Yeah,
about? I'm so surprised by this. And this is one of the a bridge between the gaps right now because there's a lot of these franchisors are traditional marketing and then this all digital copy and the funnels and all that stuff, like they don't understand it yet, and especially the community building aspect of it. And there's just so many opportunities for the franchisors that are doing it right. So, and this is just normal to you. I mean, like what we're talking
yeah.
about, this is normal in our marketing environments.
So I just want to like show people, I think, just show them the back end behind the scenes. I can share my screen. We have Zoom. Let me add some additional value here and just show you guys, like, because people make emotional decisions. They get emotionally invested in something before they make a logical decision to actually go do it. So let me show
Oh,
you
but
what this
stop
actually
right
means.
there. Say that again because that is again, Brad, it is so simple to us. Like you and I know that, but just dive into that just a little bit
So
deeper.
basically, what it means is, people make emotional decisions, ourselves included, everybody, right? We all make emotional decisions. We back them up with logic. So what that means for you, if you're going to lead yourself and others, is you got to tap into the why and the emotion and the reason
Mhm.
that people are actually going to do something before you make any kind of logical argument. So let me just
Do I
share
need
my
to do
screen
anything
right
on
now.
my end?
No, no, you're good. So I'm going to share my screen and actually just show you what this looks like. So right now, within the last 90 days, so we don't keep anybody on our list for 90 days, longer than 90 days if they don't click. We have 20,000 people we're interacting with. So they're doing all kinds of things. They're all kind of funnels. You have 55% interaction rate. Some of these top contacts, and maybe we can blow this out if we do a replay. But you'll just see like they have all these different forms and lists and automations that they can go through, and they get various emails, right,
Mhm.
as a result of this. So this is one side of it. So like there's different things that they can opt into and get nurtured, for example, to get what
So
they
a
want.
nurture is a lead comes in and they get an email every day, or it's going to be different things. It might be a text message, it might be an instant message, but a nurturing campaign. Part of this is your lead. It's not just a phone call from your salesperson or from your coach. There's different things to do, and there's a method behind the madness as well.
Yeah, so these are thousands of people that are going through this sequence. I'm actually building it out in real time. So what I'll do is I'll add a 10-day wait period, and then with sometime in the next 10 days, I'll put another email in that's working pretty well. Like I do broadcasts, and then I tend to make them part of the sequence if they work well, essentially. Because you have a broadcast, people will click, it'll work, it won't work. You're kind of testing things out all the time. And then there's plenty of people that can help you do this. So that's just the email side of it. And then when you go to Facebook, I've got, pretty good following on Facebook. I don't know, 2,700 or so people follow me. I'll just show you guys real quick. Sorry, it's moving slow. Did I even click it? Well, that might be the problem. Yeah, here we go. So, I've got my book front and center. You guys can go check it out. It's 8minutemastermind.com. You can get a free copy. You just pitch shipping and fulfillment. And then I'm followed by, 2,700 people. I'm always adding value to my tribe. And I'll do things like this. I'll just scroll down and show you. Oh, crap. What did I click on?
The black screen.
Black screen of death. Let's get it going on a few different ones here so I can show you the Facebook group here. So that's loading while we're doing this.
Yeah, I think people are the Facebook group is interesting for people.
Yeah.
They
The Facebook group makes a lot of sense. It's easy to get your head around. You're probably really familiar with Facebook groups. I show you Active Campaign, it'll make you go crazy, right? But this is a really simple way to add a lot of value, right? I go in, I I get people in. I have group convert that sends them over to the
Hey,
spreadsheet.
Brad, before you get into this, do you have a free Facebook group and then a Facebook group that somebody paid something for?
I do, yeah. So my buyers are in a specific group. That's the Build a Mastermind program. And that's the high ticket offer that we have where I coach them and work with them every week. This is more of like a, hey, here's some free value. If you love what we're doing, great. If not, they'll flake out eventually and not
Hmm.
worry about it. Because it's about volume. Like I'm looking for my right clients. I'm trying to attract those and repel the ones that aren't.
And when you say attract those and repel, what that means is the things that you're saying in this group are going to people that you want to work with or that belong in this group are going to love the information and the content that you're giving. The people that don't are going to they're just going to go away.
Yeah. And I'm unable to scroll down. But if you guys want to check this out, the post that I'm referring to, I made it last week. It's called a two-step post. You can go to facebook.com/Brad Hart, scroll down to last week's post, and you'll see one that's this color, I believe, or blue. And it's like created a step-by-step guide to creating a virtual mastermind.
Mhm.
Oh, here it goes. Starting to move. Okay, awesome. Hopefully.
And again, the franchise tribe, when you hear virtual mastermind, think your customers wanting to be in your ecosystem.
Yeah. So here it is. I put this up on March 30th, so that's last week, and we've gotten 352 responses.
And I'm one of those. I'm
Yeah.
absolutely one of those responses.
So what happens is you click through, you say, "Hey, I want this." We send it to you in Messenger. We vary the messages so that it's not like getting spam or like Facebook doesn't shut us down. You get, we use Chat Silo, so you can go to mrbls.co/chat silo and get that. It's a great tool to keep all your feeds and everything created. And then those people are in our ecosystem too, right? Because they have to give us their email to get the piece of value that we offered. And at first I was just giving them out. And then I realized like, I don't own that traffic otherwise. I got to take that
Mhm.
traffic off of Facebook, because if Facebook shuts me down, God forbid, or something happens to our account or whatever, like I don't have any control over that. What I do have control over are these people on my list that I showed you earlier, right? These 20,000 some odd people that we're interacting with in some way, shape, or form in the last 90 days. And there's been tens of thousands more, hundreds of thousands more that have interacted with us in the past, maybe millions. I don't even know. I think we reached 2.5 million people with our ads during Facebook, during Tony Robbins' last launch. And we're just looking to segment them and get them into the right place, so we know whether there's somebody who's going to eventually buy something or not, or move along. And that's fine. Like we don't have any, like, we're not upset because we're able to generate enough leads
Yep.
where we can sift out the gold. It's like panning for gold, essentially, right? You're
Yep.
looking for the people who are going to spend the most money to work with you to get the most results. And it's a value add for them, it's a value add for you, and everybody's happy at the end of the day.
You said something earlier about getting their email address. So anyone who's in this group, I have a really light ask. If you leave your email address, you get part of my newsletter, which is I probably need to do something better to get more email addresses, because we want email addresses. And you guys build in your Facebook groups for your paid members or your free members, you want to get their email address so you can market to them, and there's different things that you can do. Even like if it's a yoga student, I always go back. Everyone has different businesses here, but just, since I have a yoga studio, I use that a lot. Just give something like 10 yoga classes that you've packaged up, and just give that to the members for an email address, because people just don't want to give an email address these days, just to do it, because that's really kind of spammy marketing. But if you give them something of value, even though it's not like, incredible, they'll give you an email address for that.
Well, and the key is just, it's just them raising their hand saying that, this is enough for me to take action, and I
Mhm.
perceive it to be valuable and take action. You know, you're not going to change your life with a PDF or a couple of
Yep.
videos, right? You're just not. Like, they need to make a commitment, they need to make an investment, they need to work with you over a consistent period. Like, guess what? In the age of information, if free information worked with Google and YouTube, everybody would be a shredded billionaire about to achieve enlightenment in their dream relationship with perfect kids, and everything would be great. But that's not the world we live in. Obviously,
No.
there's some problems out there. And the reason is because we all have limited attention and time and energy, and we all pay attention to what we pay for and what pays us, right? Or what's
Yeah.
important to us, what emotionally stimulates us, right? So if you want people to take action and get the results, they got to invest. And this is the way you get them towards you, right? You start that by, like, okay, they know who you are. Then give them some content, you work them a little bit, you kind of work up, build a relationship. Now they like you a little more because you're giving them stuff that's valuable, that
Mhm.
solves their problems. It doesn't solve all their problems. Certainly, you can't solve everybody's problems all the time, especially not for free again. But they see that it's valuable. They see that you know what you're talking about, and then they're willing to have a conversation about whether they trust you or whether they like you enough to buy from you. And then once they buy from you, now you have an opportunity to make them into a raving fan customer who refers other customers and clients. And like a lot of my business is referrals now. It's really great. So I don't even have to be doing all this marketing. But now I can take myself out of it as the bottleneck, and I can start to do affiliate offers where I promote other people's stuff. We were a top affiliate for Tony Robbins this last launch. We came number 8 out of 5,000 affiliates. And all of this is just specific marketing principles. And now I've got this niche built out for Masterminds, but I do other stuff too. I used to run a hedge fund that was very successful. I've done real estate in the past. I've been a marketer for many years. So I can write other things and build other kind of funnels, and build other niches out that bring me other types of clients, both to keep me in variety, which is a need I have, and
Mhm.
also to ultimately serve more people, because everybody has similar problems, but they come in for different things. Somebody this year might come in for marketing, but they're going to need a mastermind next year, or vice
Yep.
versa. Or 3 years down the road, they're going to have more money than they have time to figure out what to do with it. And they're going to want to hire me to be their wealth coach or something, right? So I want to have multiple offers in multiple areas of expertise so that I'm constantly nurturing people and as many relationships as possible. And these tools allow you to do that. But what doesn't allow you to do that is by looking at just what's in front of you. Oh my God, my business is shuttered
Yep.
because of what's happening with the economy. You have millions of people you can reach theoretically. And it starts with one, and then you multiply it to two, and then you
Yep.
multiply it to four. And if you just ever look at the grains of rice on the checkerboard, or the chessboard, you'll see that exponentially multiply very quickly. I started out this business 6 years ago, and I had other businesses before that, but I started out with 6 years ago with one goal in mind. I want to reach a million people. It took us 3 years. Last year with Tony Robbins, we did it in 6 weeks. This
Mhm.
year with Tony Robbins, in that launch, we did it in 3 days, 72 hours. And within 2.5 weeks, we reached 2.5 million people, or 6 weeks, we reached 2.5 million people. So you have no idea how big it can get, how fast, with consistency. And my whole thing is just, can I get 1% better today? Because 1% after a year is not 365% because it compounds. It's actually 3,778%. You could be 38 times better at something at the end of this year than you started today by getting 1% better every day.
It sounds like you've been hanging out with Tony Robbins.
A little bit. I've been to 15 of his events. I'm a speaker on a speaking tour. I trained some of his workshops. I mean, I love Tony. He's changed my life. And I wouldn't
You
ever,
have, I mean, we have a mutual friend, Pete Vargas,
yeah,
who
he's great.
is doing the training. I mean, he's training the trainers, isn't he?
Yeah, yeah. He trains us and we train the people that do that. So like basically they put together the workshop, AYR and all the team, Jed and everybody at AYR put together the training, and then we help facilitate it. Some of us are being trained to like be head trainers. I've done 2 of these workshops already as like a co-facilitator, if you will. And then all of us are being trained to be speakers as well. So some people are going to speak, some people are going to train, some people are going to do both. And that's, been a little bit messed up because we can't get it together in person.
Everybody has been impacted. I remember being on the phone with Pete. I think it was on a Monday after the NBA shut down. And he's like, hey guys, Tony just canceled one of his big events.
Yeah.
And
you got to cancel one in 42 years.
Yep.
That's amazing. Let's just clap it up for Tony. 42 years, cancel an event. That man has been in more pain and had more health problems than you could believe. And he's just got such a big heart. He's never going to let anybody down. And now he's had to, but it's not even his fault. Like we had a lot of problems happen too, but I don't focus on that. I focus on what can I control right now and where can I make the most output for the least amount of input. And I'm just always asking myself that question. Like here's some great questions during this crisis. Ready? And I got a few of these from Tim Ferriss, a few of these from Tony. So, they might be mine, they might not be mine, but what's the first thing that if done, this is how to prioritize, because everybody's like, oh my God, so many things.
Mm-hmm.
What's the one thing that if you did it and it was done, mind you, I said done, not perfect. If you did it and it was done, would make everything else easier or irrelevant? That's a great question. Just clarify.
That is.
That's an amazing question. I got that from Tim Ferriss. Another one is you focus on what you feel. So what are you focusing on? Right. And if you have trouble focusing, that means your physical body needs to shift. The way to shift your emotional state is to start by shifting your physical state. Get out, move your body, do something, do it inside, do some pull-ups, do some sit-ups, do some whatever you got to do. Get your physical body in line, take a shower, and oh my God, you'll all of a sudden have focus and clarity. And then you can decide to focus on the things that matter and use language patterns and words that empower you and lift you up. Talk about possibility, not about potential, because you're creating reality with everything you say. And the best way to do that is start with the physical.
I remember I was interviewing Bedros Keuilian for the first time. And when in the middle of the podcast, it hit me like, I have really good ideas when I'm working out or I'm out exercising. I'm getting ready to go mountain biking here in about an hour and a half before it snows this weekend. So, but like I have the best ideas and or the ability to solve problems when I'm out exercising, when I'm out moving, when I'm out doing stuff. And it's true. If I'm just like this being home and during coronavirus, I'm walking probably 3 hours a day. When I'm not on a podcast, I'm actually, on a conference call or something, I'm out walking and I'm way more productive out walking than I am sitting on a desk, just like, in a dark
There's actually
room.
a lot of science behind this. You familiar with EMDR? Have you ever studied that?
No.
So EMDR is it's a therapy that you use to stimulate both halves of the brain and work through trauma. So I did a ton of EMDR. Don't do a lot at once. If anybody's out there listening and wants to try it, do it like one session, then wait a couple weeks and do another session. You need time to process all stuff. I tried to do like 4 sessions in 2 weeks and I nearly like exploded. It was too much. And I'm not saying that to be funny, like it's serious. Don't do that. So EMDR does that. It stimulates both sides of the brain, but you know what also does that? Taking a walk. And the reason it works so well is because you're literally taking both sides of your brain and resyncing them. It's like syncing the rhythm of an engine or something like that. Like it really works to just make that work. So the reason walks calm us down and make us more clear is because we're actually resetting our brain. And most people aren't doing that. They're just taking beams of light bombarding their eyeballs that are telling them to wake up and freak out all day long. So instead, go outside, turn off your devices, leave them at home, bring your dog. If you have a dog, I have a dog.
Yep.
Love her dog. Her name's Juniper. We go running with her. She's wonderful. And then, go outside and take a walk. And she'll be happy and you'll be happy and everybody's
so good. Like I'm actually, I know you're going to be getting on the road here once things slow down, but I am loving not going to all these masterminds. I mean, I enjoy them when I'm there, but just the ability, and I'm just taking all this in, forced to be at home, but I get to be at home now. I get to be with my family and my kids and I get to do the things that I normally don't get to do. So I'm probably not going to be traveling as much as I was coming out of this than I was, all of a sudden when being sprung on us, you can't travel.
Yeah. Well, and you can do this all virtually. The best part about
Mhm.
Mastermind, like we had a virtual one last week with 100 plus people on it. I did it
What'd you
on
do?
Zoom.
So like a virtual mastermind, like what did you do just to give the audience a sense of like, what do you mean a virtual mastermind?
Yeah, so I have a whole guide. You can go and get it. It's at mastermindvirtually.com/bonus. And you can actually join our virtual mastermind. It's mastermindvirtually.com. So you can go to either one of those. If you want the whole book and how to do masterminds, it's 8minutemastermind.com. All of that's value that's free for you to check out. So all those things, you get recordings, you get like how to's, what questions to ask, all of it. It's all there. So the way you do it simply is you tell people I'm going to have a virtual mastermind, bring your challenges specific to whatever industry or whatever expertise you want to talk about. I typically tell people business and life problems because you don't have business problems, you have life problems that show up in your business. So
Hmm.
so bring those. And
Yep.
then we have a format. It's like, for us, we hit a lot of people. So we have an intake form, we have them like do this all beforehand. But if you have the time and the space and you don't have, 100 people on call, you can just say, hey, who are you? What do you do? 30 seconds. What are you grateful for or celebrating? 30 seconds is a really good format because you want to start in gratitude. You don't want to just dive
Hmm.
into the worries and the weight of the world. You want to start off in like that high vibe gratitude. And then what's your challenge or something you want to move faster on in less than a minute? And then people ask you clarifying questions because most problems are
Yep.
clarity problems.
Yep.
They're not sure or clear on what actually is. So when you're clear on what is, the problem's half solved at that point, right? More than
Yep.
half solved in a lot of cases. So you
No, it's
ask
true.
clarifying questions until they're really clear and you're really clear and the audience is really clear and everybody's really clear that this is the real problem. This is not just the tip of the iceberg. This is the whole iceberg. Okay, great. Now, from that clarity, what do we do? What's the next 2, 3 steps we got to take to get this not to be a problem? And a lot of times it's very simple from there.
In a lot of the masterminds that we go to, we talk about that kind of stuff. We talk about, your biggest problem, and you do start out with what you're grateful with, but then you dive into problems and then the problems get solved, especially in some of these smaller masterminds that I've been a part of. That was Frank Kern's whole thing. He's like, what's your biggest problem? Let's solve that one thing
Yeah.
before you leave.
Because it almost always makes everything else irrelevant. When you
Yep.
solve that big problem, it creates so much space and bandwidth in your business. Like if everything's burning down around you, stop the fire. That's the first thing.
So were you the one with telling everybody, giving perspective in this, that, and that, or were there other like people that were contributing? What's that look like?
Yeah. So again, the way we ran it, it's just faster if I do a lot of the hot seats, but I have people write in the chat because it just you can't really compare like chapter 30 to chapter one, right? If you're doing
Mhm.
chapter one, you'll probably have like 5 or 10 people on. You can take your time and like expand with each person and have everybody ask questions and wait for the Zoom delay and all that stuff. But when we were just doing it, I was just facilitating with my girlfriend Jasmine. She's also a master. She was one of my clients in the Build Mastermind program.
So you did win, man. Look at
Yeah,
that.
no, it's been great. She was my client for a year. She came to a mastermind. I fired her, and then I hired her as my girlfriend, and now we live together. So it's a really wonderful story. But I would have never got there if I didn't decide one day that I was going to be the mastermind guy and plant my flag. Because that's another problem I see every business owner having.
Yep.
Is they're not one thing. They're trying to be everything to
Yep.
everybody. And despite whether you can help everybody or not, if you focus, more people will come through your door, and then you can help them with all the other things. But they need a
So many
point of
people don't
clarity and
focus.
focus for you. If you can't get clear, they can't get clear.
Yep.
And clarity is
So
the first step.
do you charge? Did you charge the people to be in that virtual mastermind?
No, but now I can upsell them. This is just a community thing. Like I used to do these in my living room for local entrepreneurs. I've actually built the largest local mastermind community for entrepreneurs in San Diego. It's over 500 members. It's all word of mouth, and nobody's invited that's not from San Diego. So instead of doing that in my home because of Corona, I decided to go online and do it virtually. Now hundreds of people from all over the world are joining. It's really wonderful. We're gonna have to add additional times maybe. So I didn't charge for that because I wanted to give people a sense of what we do. Because most of them
Mhm.
have never had that experience.
Yep.
They've never been in a mastermind with me because it's either $10,000 plus or, I don't do them typically. Like I'm in a lot of demand for my time right now. And that's not, again, to brag or impress. I'm just saying I've been doing this for a long time. I've been a part of 30 masterminds. I've started 10 of my own. I work with Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi to teach this stuff. There's probably very few people besides myself that know as much about masterminds as I do.
So
So
franchisees out there, if you're listening to this and there's two ways to look at this of I want, most people out there listening are probably thinking, I want to join some type of mastermind. And there's a bunch of them out there. And, I mean, that one, like you said, the one that you and I are part of, we paid 100 grand to be a part of that. And then there's some that are a lot less than that and some that are free. And you can get a lot of value out of really good free ones. I mean, the people that get to come to the San Diego one for you get massive value out of that. And that's one of the things that I've seen. You don't have to pay money to get really big value to be a part of stuff like that. But so people are thinking about how do I join a mastermind, but also franchisees be thinking, how do you create your own mastermind? Because you're an expert of something, whatever business that is. And you can start to create your own Facebook group like I have here. You can create your own mastermind out of that Facebook group. And we'll probably do some type of mastermind out of this Facebook group at some point. But you can be doing that. And a lot of franchisees, Brad, that I've seen, they're so locked into their particular franchise that they don't really have, they can't pivot to something else. And this is one pivot that they can do. I mean, so what would you say to someone that's an expert at one particular business? Would they be able to create some type of mastermind that would be, or what kind of value would they be able to give or get out of creating a mastermind? Think more locally.
Yeah. So locally for sure, read the book. That's my best advice. 8minutemastermind.com. Check it out. I'll send it to you. It'll be great. You'll get a digital copy right away. You don't have to wait for the physical copy. So that's awesome. And that'll teach you exactly what I did. Easy, step by step.
So yeah, I mean, so just get the book, read it, and I've got the book. I've got the book on my bookshelf. And so out of like this, you go. That's the one I have. Talk about masterminds in general. What are some of the most incredible or interesting experiences that you've had, or maybe it's even your first experience that you had at a mastermind? You're like, wow, it was worth the 10 or 20 or $30,000 that you paid.
Great idea. Yeah. So my first mastermind was $10,000 a year. It was 3 years I was in it. I got so much value out of it. It was crazy. It was actually, so the first personal development book I read, which was Guys is Something Else, was The Game by Neil Strauss when I was 19 years old. And you got to understand, when I was 19 years old, I did not know how to talk to girls. I had no aspirations of trying to be like a pickup artist or anything like that. I just wanted to be able to talk to a girl. Like, that would have been amazing for me. So I read this game, and now I'm learning about this world where there's all these guys that can like get anyone they want. Da, 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 da. I'm like, that's not really what I'm looking for. But like, if I could just learn how to talk to a girl, I would be thrilled. So Neil, tell me what you know. So as a result of reading that book and flying out to LA and meeting him, I got that result. That was my first personal development win. Somebody taught me what they knew, and then all of a sudden I was able to talk to girls. It was a big deal. I hadn't had sex until I was 19. And then I had a lot of sex from 19 to 24, but that's not the point. The point is, I realized that, oh my God, I can pay somebody money and they can teach me what they know, and I could educate myself. And it didn't, like, none of this other stuff mattered to me, because all I cared about was, can I talk to women? How can I talk to women? That was the biggest problem I had at the time. So I came in the door for a specific thing and I got a lot of value. And then guess what? 2 years later, I'm in Africa with Tim Ferriss. And how did I get to Africa with Tim Ferriss? Well, that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, not many people get to Africa with Tim Ferriss. That is,
yeah, it was pretty cool. So it's like 2011 now. I'm in Africa with Tim, and he's asking me a question. He says, "Hey, we're at this hotel in Lamu Island, Kenya. It's off the coast of Kenya. I got malaria. A bunch of other things happened. We almost got trampled by donkeys. Great trip, but but here we are. We're in this hotel, and Tim asked me, well, what do you want to do in your life? And I told him about everything I was working on, and he just pauses. He's like, have you ever been to North Korea? North Korea? What do you mean? He's like, well, I have this friend who's doing this trip to North Korea. I think it should be on. I think it would be really good for you. I'm like, are you going to North Korea? He's like, hell no. I'm like, why do I want to go to North Korea? He's like, I think it'd be good for you. I'm like, who's your friend? He's like, you should ask too many questions. Just go or don't.
oh my gosh.
So I'm like, I'm going to pass, right? I don't want to be at the whim of a third world dictator. I don't think they take kindly to Americans touristing over there. But they did this trip without me. They came back and they put out an email about it. And it was Neil Strauss, again, who who was a friend of Tim's, with this whole group that was a mastermind group that I had never heard of before. I'm like, what the hell's a mastermind group? Where apparently they went to North Korea because it was a cool thing they could do that even the president couldn't do. Right? Just as like a kickoff trip. So then they had the second one at his house in Los Angeles. And I was like, hey, I want to be a part of this. This sounds cool. What is it about? So I talked to the guy on the phone. I joined it. It was way too much money. And I went, and it was amazing. So now I'm in this group of all these people from all over the world. It was only men. It was a men's mastermind that, most of these guys were 7-figure plus earners. Some of them were like partners at Deloitte and like, big big, like one guy had a 9-figure company as the third largest rolling paper company in the world. I'm still friends with us today. And we went to one of the intensives, they call it. It was a quarterly meetups, so like the actual mastermind. And we had monthly calls and meetups and everything online. So I'm at one of these intensives. We learn about this thing called NVC, which is nonviolent communication. It's changed my life in a lot of ways and really set me on the path to be a great communicator as I am today, or at least I like to think so. I'm learning all the time. But NVC was cool, but the way it was taught was really difficult to digest. So Josh reaches out to me. He's like, "Hey man, what's NVC about? I don't get it." Like, so I took 20 minutes and I just explained it to him. And he's like, "Thanks, Brad. I got another problem." I'm like, "Josh, you've always been great, generous to me. What can I do? How can I solve your problem?" He's like, "I spend too much money on my black card. I spend 250 grand a month, and my airline miles stack up faster than I can actually spend them." I'm like, "That sounds like a high quality problem, Josh. What do you
Yeah.
want me to do about that?" He's like, "Here's 300,000 air miles on Air Canada and United. Go anywhere you want to go and do whatever you want to do with them." I'm like, "Well, what is that? I don't have any kind of like context size. That's like 10 first class tickets wherever you want to go." I'm like, "Holy shit." Now I'm playing around like with these guys where the abundance is real.
Yeah.
Like, their problems are like, I got too much,
Yep.
where I was like, I got too little. So that paid for my whole trip. Because I don't know if you priced a first class ticket recently, but it's a heck of a lot more than I paid to get in that mastermind. On top of that, I got published in Forbes 3 times. I got to launch my hedge fund out of that opportunity. We had a huge year. We did 106% return in a year that was really big to begin with. I think the S&P did 25%. We quadrupled it. Just all kinds of amazing, beautiful things happened in business and personal. I finally learned how to dress. I learned how to talk to women more. I learned how to like be a ninja James Bond and break into cars and hack locks and all kinds of cool stuff. And parkour. Like, I met so many wonderful people who I'm friends with to this day. And that was all the power of a mastermind.
Yeah.
So it pays to be in the room. Like, you can go for a free one, but trust me, when you pay to be in the right room, it's a whole different experience. And we can help you like find the right one for you if that's what you're looking for. We can make recommendations as well.
For sure. And I think what I've experienced, and it might just be me, I'm intimidated. Like when I first went to 100M, when, we were playing basketball at Dennis Rodman, it was insane what was going on. I was intimidated to that group. There are some
I hear he's pretty good
powerful
at basketball.
people. What's that?
I hear he's pretty good at basketball. Also,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And I put up a video of me, like, just, I was the foolish, like tried to hook a Hail Mary. Well, I mean, a football basketball combo to try to do something to get over his gigantic reach. And it was an epic fail.
Like an orange, right?
How long did it take you to start to get to, once you're in it in different masterminds, you get to know different people because they kind of, there's always like some
Overlap.
from one, yeah, there's some good overlap. But when you were first getting started, I mean, did you connect with everybody right away?
I did my best to do that. So as a result of having that ability to travel, a lot of the people were in the U.S. So I just did a whole tour around the U.S. and I got to meet everybody and their families and learn what their businesses are about and how to add value. And that was the key. Is like I was seeking to just give, and
Yep.
like learn as much as I possibly could about these people. And that's why I built such deep relationships. So if you go in with the intention of like taking and extracting value, people are going to feel that and they're going to shy away from you. You're going to get very little out of it. It's the same thing as going to a networking event and just handing out your business cards. Like, forget that
Yep.
shit. So go and actually like spend the time to learn about 3 or 5 or 10 people at a time, not, all of them, and then pick another 5 or 10 people the next time.
Yep.
And eventually you kind of follow up with these people and you build relationships with them. You find the ones that are your people. And all of a sudden, you know way more people than you realize. Like I've met tens of thousands of entrepreneurs over the year. I've forgotten more people than most people know.
Yep.
And then when I like have a problem or something comes up, all I got to do is put a post out on Facebook and be like, "Hey, we have this challenge. It's solved." I'll just share a quick question or a quick story because we're running out of time. But I just thought this was so awesome. I was on with one of my portfolio companies recently. I invested in a company called Farm Fresh Meals. They're a local San Diego-based meal delivery service here, and they're killing it too organically. We need to turn on ads right now. It's just nuts because everybody's ordering from them. And it's awesome. So back in a little while ago, we were building out a new Shopify website, and they were having some issue with the tech, right? And I don't know about Shopify, even though I ran a freaking Amazon marketing agency. I didn't do the fulfillment. So they were like, "What are we going to do?" It was him and this other guy that I brought on to help. And they were like, "What are we going to do? What are we going to do?" And I'm like, "Okay." I go off on Facebook and I put up a post. Who's a Shopify expert can help me out for 5 minutes. 60 seconds later, ding dong. And this guy comes in and he's like, "Okay, what's the problem? Shopify, cool. All right, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this." 5 minutes later, problem solved. I'm like, "Hey, thanks, man. What's your PayPal?" And I send somebody's like, "No, don't worry about it. Thanks for everything." And He's gone, like fucking Batman. He was the off of the night with the problems out. And they were like, who is that guy? I'm like, I don't know. Never met him before in my life. Apparently, I'd added value to his life in some way.
That's it. I've been amazed at it's people like that don't have a big name, and they haven't done they're not like well known in any way, but they're just there to help. I've experienced that. And then I've just experienced other people that are super generous that are part of these masterminds that you'd like, gosh, I've seen them on TV, I've seen them on stage, I've seen them all over Facebook, and I've never interacted with them. And then all of a sudden they're there, they're really helping you. You get a part of these groups and you're there to help each other. And it is all about adding value.
Well, and a lot of you guys, like you forget early on in your business, you're probably doing everything you could for everybody. But at some point you started to pull back and you started to not do that so much. But if you want to just expand the floodgates again, just start doing more for more people, whether you get paid for it or not, because you're going to eventually get paid for it. You just got to decide, like, are you going to stock the pond or are you going to fish it out? If you've been fishing it out for too long, the pond's not stocked. You got to stock the pond again.
Yep.
And you'll be surprised at how much pent up demand you have if you've been stocking and not fishing. And you'll be surprised at how little demand you have if you've been fishing and not stocking.
No, 100%.
So make that choice to restock the ponds and help people. And eventually it's all going to build up again.
Hey, I know we all got things that we've got to do. Any last bits of wisdom for people just around like being genuine relationships with their staff or their customers or whatnot?
Yeah, I think really just focusing on solving the problem in front of people instead of because a lot of businesses, like they'll be very myopic. They'll be like, we do this one thing, and if you don't buy our shit, get out of here. Right? That's basically how they do it.
Yep.
What if instead you took that extra moment to be like, okay, well, I'm clear on your situation now, and I'm clear on, whether our product's not a good fit or not. Here's another thing that you should check out. It's a lower price or whatever their objection is, or whatever, like if they really can't afford it, because there's money objections, which are like polite ways to say, screw you, I'm not sold. And then there's money objections like, I can't pay my rent this month, I can't feed my kids, I don't know what I'm gonna do, I lost my job. Like there's those type as well. Well, that person can probably afford a book. So maybe you recommend a book. But you do something, like you add some value, you get them to invest a little bit just to keep the train moving so that they can get out of that. Because books can change people's lives too. They're not going to be as impactful as a $10,000 a year mastermind by a long stretch, but they can really help if it's the right book at the right time. So, any connection, any resource, any opportunity, any person, any system that you can give people because you have clarity on what their actual problem is, will move them along and add value to their lives. They're never going to forget it because you didn't take that opportunity to be like, screw you. Because you didn't buy from me, you're gonna create so much value for that person. And that's what we need now more than ever. Like you should be an expert in your field eventually. If you aren't right now, you can partner up with experts. But once you get to that place of being an expert, the playing field better than anybody you're going to talk to. Like if somebody comes to talk to me about masterminds, I know it better than they do. Like 999 times out of 1,000. So I'm going to give them the value that they need. Either they're going to buy one of my things or they're going to buy somebody that I recommend.
Yep.
They're going to buy something, whether it be today or tomorrow or the next day. So give them what they need to make a great decision and educate them on how to buy, not so much, pitching them. And that'll build more trust and more relationships and more referrals than anything else. And if they're not a buyer for you, guess what? They just heard your pitch. So now tell them about your referral program, because if it's not right for them, they can still make money. So we pay $1,000 referral to anybody who sends us a great client. So now they just made $1,000 for listening to a sales pitch and sending one of their friends who was a better fit.
Guys, this is, if you probably need to go back and listen to this again with several different, mindsets. You listen as a franchisee, listen as someone that's trying to, get referrals. Business at the end of the day is about finding a problem and solving that problem and taking care of people. And it's really that simple. So everything that you're looking at through the lens in your business, look at the problems and figure out how to solve them. Anything else, Brad, before I let you go?
That's it, guys. If you want to check me out, I'm at facebook.com/Brad Hart. Say hello to me. Check out some of my stuff. You can go to get the book for free at 8minutemastermind.com. If you want to check out the virtual mastermind, it's at mastermindvirtually.com, virtually. And then if you go /bonus, you can get this step-by-step guide on how to create your own.
Awesome, man. Thanks again.
Arigato gozaimasu.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Franchise Secrets Podcast. Whether you're watching or listening, please make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and to whatever channel you're listening on. If you want my help with anything from buying a franchise to franchising your business, please visit franchisesecrets.com.